Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of misty morning. That is it. Hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking video, talking photo. Today is a photo day, kinda, sorta, photo video, I guess I would call it. Nikon is once again the cool kid on the block, literally. That's what this video is going to be about. I am amazed on how well Nikon has been doing, or Nikon, it depends on where you are on the planet. I am just kind of blown away. I knew that they can do it, but I was not sure if they would. They were for quite some time just in this lull. And after the recall after recall after recall that happened with, I believe, the 750s, I remember saying that if the D850 was not just incredible, with no recalls, it was going to be the end of Nikon. This is what my prediction was. But thankfully, the D850 was just amazing, and they sold a ton of them. And they still sell a lot of them today, and rightfully so. It is a great camera. I would venture to say it was probably the best DSLR ever made. And now we're not seeing any more DSLRs being made at all, so it's probably going to reign supreme going forward. But I guess that's for everyone to decide what they think is the best. But it was awesome, absolutely awesome. Well, the same thing holds true with their Z6, Z7, and now the Z9 and whatnot. I looked at it as, well, if the Z9 comes out as being great, I think it's going to really hold up the company. If the Z9 flagship falls on its face for $6,000, it would be really rough for Nikon, really rough, because they've been having it hard. So what ended up happening was the Z9 is just, it's great. It's absolutely great. There's no recalls. It is probably going to be labeled as one of the better hybrid cameras on the market, period. End of story. Well, the whole idea of cooling came up a few videos ago when I spoke about Fujifilm and how I think that they're going to be introducing some type of cooling device that goes onto the back of the brand new XH2S, which is more video-centric in comparison to the XH2. I want to get into this a little bit further about the whole cooling thing. Before I do, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go pick them up. They're 100% free. Go to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. You can get them, once again, for free. So the cooling idea here is very important. I've talked to you guys about this in the past, where cooling, as the cameras get more and more powerful, and we go from 1080p to 4K to now 8K, and the bit rates keep going higher and higher and higher, from 420 to 422, eventually 444 RAW. The bit rates are just, it's very difficult to be able to write that quickly to these cards and do it without a ton of heat. And the bottom line is there's going to be heat. And that's why I've always said there needs to be some type of active cooling in the cameras themselves to be able to handle it. And that's what ended up happening with a lot of the cameras. And I talked to you guys about this in the past, like the Panasonic SH1H. It has a cooling system built into it, a fan. Also does all of the Canon EOS C series, the C100, the 200, 300, 500, the C700. They all have built-in cooling. That means that it has an inlet as well as an exhaust and a fan that blows over that sensor. You also see the GH6 now has active cooling. You see the Sony cameras like an FX3, active cooling. Anything that has to do with video that is more video-centric or a hybrid that leans video, it needs to be able to be cooled somehow. And we see the brand new Fujifilm camera that's going to be coming out has gone down that road too. The same thing holds true with the R5. When the R5 came out from Canon, I said, this thing is going to overheat. There's no way to do this 8K with this high bit rate and be able to do it fully sealed. It's just not going to happen. And that's exactly what ended up coming to pass. The thing was melting. And then they came up with all types of like little screw-on backs that would just blow cool air on the back of the camera. Really inefficient. Does it work? Kind of, sort of. You're still only cooling the plastic area on the back of the camera. It's not like it has direct access to like a a heat plate, like a copper plate or something with piping or something. It doesn't have that. So does it work? Yes. Does it help? Yes, it does. But I think Fujifilm is going to do it a little bit better with that XH2S. But we'll see what ends up coming to pass with that. The bottom line here is you need to have that cooling to be able to make this happen. And Canon ended up going with the R5C. The C means cinema. It is that crossover or that bridge that goes from an R5 into the cinema series, the cinema lineup. Once again, the cinema or the C100, 200, 300, 500, 700, right? It brings people over. It's that bridge camera, okay? Well, what I don't understand here is Nikon has somehow figured it out. They came out with the Z9 and the damn thing doesn't have internal cooling and it shoots 8K. How is this even a thing? I really don't get it. I mean, the only thing that I can think of is that the camera body is so large, which it is full size, right? That they have some type of heat dissipation that like pulls the heat away from the sensor to the extremities or something, because there is no exhaust, there is no inlet, right? There's no way to kind of dissipate the heat. The heat will remain inside the camera. And now we see with the latest firmware update 2.0, now we're getting internal 8K 60p RAW. We are also seeing now an EVF that's running at 120 hertz compared to 60 hertz. Pre-buffer, there's a lot of new things that came with that new Z9 firmware version 2 update. But the bottom line here is we're seeing capture rates of 4K all the way up to 120p, 8K, 30p, as well as 60p. We're seeing RAW and log. There is ProRes 422 happening in the back end. There's so many different things. That EVF on the back of the camera is now like 3000 nit. It's just a bright, bright EVF, as well as that back screen. There is a ton of things that are causing heat in that camera. And especially seeing 12-bit and RAW. I mean, really? 8K, 60p, and RAW, 12-bit. I mean, there is a lot going on here. That thing, if someone was to ask me before it came out, if it was possible, I would say the exact same thing that I said with the R5. It's going to burn up. The difference, I think, is, once again, I think it has to do with the size. The R5 was compact, right? It wasn't full size, like a 1D or something, right? So I think that's where we're seeing a major discrepancy between the cameras. I'm guessing that Nikon has figured out, once again, how to push that heat to the extremities of this large camera and keep it away from the important circuitry, right? Obviously, your CMOS sensor. So I don't know, guys. I don't know, guys. This might end up being one of those cameras that become that D850, where it ends up being the best hybrid shooter out there. I mean, I've seen a lot of videos about how it compares to a Sony A1, how it compares to the R3, how it compares, and so on and so forth. And it does well. It's either better or it's on par to all of them. And Nikon has said that it will have no problem recording oversampled 4K 30p for 2+ hours. And I've seen people actually run it much longer than that with absolutely no problems at all. I don't know. I really don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that it's the size of the camera? What do you think Nikon's special sauce is going on within this body? Also, if Nikon can do it, why can't Canon or Panasonic or Fujifilm or Sony do the exact same thing? Just simply introduce a camera that's full size, a full body in comparison to the smaller size, and then not need any type of internal cooling. This would be extremely beneficial if you were a true hybrid shooter, whereas you're shooting, let's say, sports action, and then you're shooting video also. You know, with this camera at what, 45 megapixels plus, and being able to do 8K and not have to worry about it overheating. Also, you do not limit the camera by its weather sealing. because now the camera can be 100% sealed. Whereas all of the other cameras that I was talking to you guys about, like the Panasonic, the S1H, or the new Fujifilm, or even like the R5C, it doesn't matter. Any one, you can pick any of them that have the internal active cooling. They have an inlet as well as an exhaust. And if they have an inlet and an exhaust, that means that there is room for moisture to get into the camera. Whereas with the Z9, it's sealed with no heating problems. So anyways, guys, I just want to say congratulations to Nikon for this, because I think this is really big. And if they use this technology that they're using within this camera and then move it into some of their other cameras like the Z6 or the Z7, maybe a Mark III or a Mark IV, whatever, I think this will be really quite amazing, because they will be able to now move into that 8K realm just by simply adding a little bit of size to the camera. And to be honest with you guys, just yesterday I did a photo shoot with a TV celebrity. It was a still photo shoot, not video, stills. And I decided to use the Canon EOS R, the mirrorless system, right? And I threw on the 24-70. It just was just a beautiful experience. It worked amazing. But the size of the camera to me is too small. Using it is just difficult. I mean, I have pretty big hands, and when I wrap around the camera, it just doesn't feel as good as my 1D or any of my 5D cameras with a battery grip on it. So I think this EOS R that I picked up, I'm almost certain to pick up a battery grip for it. I don't want to, because I want to keep it really nice and compact, but I need that extra size. I just simply do. I personally think that the cameras are going to get slightly bigger going forward to somehow dissipate this heat internally to the camera by pushing it maybe once again out to the extremities. I think that's the way they're going to have to go. It's been such a time now, the last 5-10 years, where the cameras keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you have like this torpedo lens and this little tiny camera on the back that looks ridiculous. But I think at this point, we're going to start seeing the cameras get bigger. Once again, what do you think? What do you think about cameras getting larger? What do you think about the Nikon Z9? I want to know your thoughts. What is their special sauce? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, throw it a thumbs up. That would be great. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not as of yet, and click the bell icon over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented over the many years for you and me. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. We'll see you in the next one. Love you all.